Another
Okay, it's
service
that time again.
synopsis.
Yes, it's Saturday, and you know what happens on Saturday. We go to church, yes, and I have my synopsis. Now, forgive me, last Saturday I did not do a synopsis. But anyway, Pastor Allen is doing a mini series. So, what he spoke about last week and this week is connected. And the topic was let's do difficult. I know. Some of you hear difficult and you're like, okay, not for me. But let me explain. Yes, when he said let's do difficult, it just simply means let's get uncomfortable. A lot of us are Christians, but we're comfortable. We're not doing the difficult stuff. Yeah, and you know, as a Christian, life isn't supposed to be easy. When you think about it, was life easy for the disciples? Was life easy for Christ? Remember, they stood against everything that was going on. So clearly, as Christians, if we're standing for God and standing for His word and His laws, you know, life is not going to be easy for us. So Pastor Allen is saying, I think we're a little too comfortable in church and as Christians, and we need to start doing difficult together. We're not doing it alone. He wants us to do it together. He wants us to take that stand together. And I must say, this week in worship with the kids, we've been talking about the fact that a war is going on and was going on long before we came here, right? And I think it ties into what Pastor Allen is saying. So I was telling the kids, you know, that before we got here, a war took place in heaven. The enemy was cast out because he wanted to be God. And when he was cast out, a third of God's angels was cast out with him. So that means his deception skills, immaculate. Yeah, think about it. He convinced a third of God's angels to follow him. And when he was cast out, he said he's going to come and wage war down here. Okay? And he has been true to that word ever since. So a war is going on. And I was telling my kids that we need to cover and put on the whole armor of God if we have to partake in this war. Now, as a soldier in a war, aren't you supposed to be armed? Yeah. And I was telling them they need to arm themselves with their sword. And you know what the sword is, right? God's word. Yes, we have to have God's word. So when the enemy come, you can say, get thee behind me, thus saith the Lord, right? We want to protect our minds because he wants to take control of this. So we have to have on a helmet that will filter out and protect this mind that God has given us. Yes, and we want to put on the breastplate, righteousness. We want to have the whole armor, right? In order to do battle. Now, whether we want to believe it or not, we're at war and we're all partakers. And so Pastor Allen just wants us to stop being at the sidelines and actually take up our sword and be a part, yes, of this war that we're a part of. You know, taking that stand for Jesus, saying that it's wrong to have people want to put pornographic things in our school for our children. It's wrong to say that God created more than two genders. He created two, male and female. That's it. You know, so the stand doesn't have to be something where, you know, we're going to literally take up arms and go fight people. But we can do it in a different way by taking a stand as Christian to stand for God's word. He said, we are too comfortable. We are just letting things happen and not speaking up. So he wants us to do that. And so in my notes, I had written down, we're at war and we need to put on the whole armor of God. And then it says this war started long before us. Yes, everything I've said before, right? And we are fighting not against flesh and blood, but against great wickedness in high places, principalities, and spiritual beings. We got to keep that in mind. Just remember, the devil was cast out with 1/3 of God's angels. Okay, so we're not just fighting against stuff. We're fighting against laws. We're fighting against, things that are there to tear down God. Yeah, so that's what service was about today. Yes, Pastor Allen just wants us to take a stand. He wants us to stop being silent and be so comfortable that we allow the enemy to get on his blowhorn and to do, one, shout so loud that people start believing the lies he's spewing, and then start changing and making laws that go against everything that God stands for. So let's start today. I hope you guys are encouraged. I hope you want to start doing difficult together with us. And know that even in doing difficult, God got us. You see, when we stand for God, He stands with us. We should know that from the stories in the Bible of people who felt like they weren't worthy, but did it anyway, and God stood with them. Okay? So that's what service was about today. I really hope you guys are encouraged. I know I left there encouraged, wanting to do difficult. Now, remember what I said difficult is. Okay, and you can start off just by doing one thing. It doesn't have to be major. You could stand by saying, hey, I'm going to support the parents for not allowing certain things in our school. That's a stand. You understand? If you want to take it slow, that's fine. But just remember, we're at war. Whether or not we want to acknowledge it. And if we don't pick a side will be picked for us. I hope you want to be on the winning side, which is God's side. I know that's the side I want to be on. Anyway, until the next one, bye.